游戏开始了。
大家好，欢迎来到这一期的一周龙珠汇。那今天呢，这个题目讲的是现在在乌克兰，俄军正在侵略乌克兰，然后呢，无数人已经被屠杀，很多人已经受伤，惨不忍睹。所以呢，今天我请到一个国际关系的专家 Dr. Paul Canullo 来呢作为我的嘉宾，跟大家讨论一下在乌克兰发生的情况，给大家第一手的资料。因为为什么呢？有句话叫做 "Seeing is believing." Dr. Canullo, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Tony Lou. I hope you're doing well as well.
Yes, I am. Well, sadly, not everybody is doing well.
That's right.
Actually, especially in Ukraine right now because of Russian invasion, and a lot of people have been killed.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So my understanding is that not only you are an international relations expert, you are also actually connected to Ukraine in a way.
Yes. So I have people there who are actually on the ground, as well as also close relatives also who are there on the ground. And, these are some of these people are also international students who have been in Ukraine for a very, very long time. And they, are sending me videos. They are letting me know what's happening right now on the ground. It's a very, very tense situation. It's crazy right now in Ukraine with the bombs that are being, sent by Russian forces against the country. And the international community really needs to rise up and speak out against these issues.
But before we move forward, maybe we can play some of the videos. My understanding is that they were sent to you by your friends in Ukraine.
That's right.
Correct?
That's right.
Okay. So let's watch some of the footages.
Игорь, побежали.
بالسلامة يا رب، السلامة يا رب، يا رب السلامة يا رب، يا رب السلامة يا رب السلامة. هذه مشات الكنيسة مسكينة مشات. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. تفرقوا شي جات.
Dr. Canullo, what do these videos? I mean, those videos are very saddening.
That's
watching them is heartbreaking. So, so what do these videos tell us?
These videos tell us that the media sometimes is not doing a just job of portraying what's really going on. So these videos help us to see clearly what's happening on the ground and the struggle that the people of Ukraine are currently going through. As we know, Ukraine currently, is not in the place to be able to defend themselves like some of this, like a country such as Russia. And this is just a country that seems to want to take advantage of Ukraine because of their strategic position. So these videos help to bring out a sense of understanding of the realities of the issues there on the ground.
Okay, so my understanding is that you also have spoken to your friends.
Yes, that's right.
Who are right now, as we speak, in Ukraine,
right.
going
That's right.
through all that, getting bombed,
Yeah.
being vulnerable, not knowing
That's
what
right.
to do.
That's right.
What did your friends tell you? Like, what exactly did they say?
You see, one of the things we must understand is that when this whole thing began, it began with a lot of bombing of the national airports in Ukraine. So there are a lot of people that are currently stuck in the country. People are saying, why don't they leave? But it's difficult to leave. A lot of the airports have been bombed. Roads are currently jammed. In fact, I have a friend who I've been talking to and trying to encourage him, trying to help him to find a way to get out of the country. And every time he's gone to look for a bus to drive off to a neighboring country such as Poland or, elsewhere, all the buses have been occupied and there hasn't been any room. So, recently I was just speaking to him and he was saying that he was going to look into a Sunday, hopefully Sunday, something should be available. But this is the reality. It's not that like people can just get up and just all of a sudden leave. It's not as easy as, it seems.
So basically you are saying that people, a lot of them, problem,
that's right.
90% of the people in Ukraine are stuck. They
Pretty
want
much.
to leave, but they
That's
cannot
right.
leave because
Yes.
there's no transportation, as you were saying. Nothing is available. They have to wait until the weekend, right?
Exactly.
See, the thing though is not just, my understanding is that it's not just the waiting, it's such a hassle, but it's the idea that you may get killed while you're waiting.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. That's right. That is the right point, that there is the idea that as you're waiting, who knows, a bomb can end up flying. As you saw from some of those videos, these are videos from people's backyards. These are videos from people's homes. These are videos from their neighborhoods. So it's not like something that's happening at just the airport alone or a particular isolated region. This is happening all over the country. So waiting means that people have to take shelter. And now people are taking shelter in, subway stations. People are taking shelter in underground areas and places that are, that could likely be bombed this weekend.
Okay, but even that though, even say that you can find shelter, right? You can hide in subway stations, but doesn't mean that you are safe. Correct?
At all.
Right?
At all. It's more of an illusion. That's what it is. It's just an illusion, right?
Yes.
But it's not safe at all because the bombs are flying everywhere and bombs are being launched everywhere on the Ukrainian people.
Okay. So why did Russia do that? Why did Russia invade Ukraine?
So one of the things that we have to understand is, geopolitical warfare, right? Which is, warfare whereby you have countries or leaders who want to take territory for strategic positions as, the world continues. So in this case, Ukraine became a independent country in 1991, okay? After the Soviet Union collapsed in 89, Ukraine became a country of its own. Now, one of the things that happened was that Ukraine, when it became a country, ended up having nuclear warheads and nuclear weapons, right? Ukraine was a part of the Soviet Union that was also a strong country along with Russia. So Ukraine ended up having these nuclear weapons and the United States and Russia and Ukraine signed a treaty to try to get Ukraine to disarm these weapons and to give them back to Russia so as to allow, and promise that they were going to defend Ukraine in case if there was any issues. Now, right now, Russia understands that if Ukraine becomes a part of the European Union, or if Ukraine ends up becoming allies with the European Union, that can affect Russia. That can affect Russia's interest. That's what Vladimir Putin thinks at the moment. So of course, he feels as though in order to be strategic, he needs to, assert his dominance and take over the country of Ukraine. I mean, he is a leader that is just obsessed with Ukraine, and nobody understands why. but unfortunately, he has a bigger agenda than just what he's doing now.
So what is his bigger agenda? Do you think his bigger agenda is to dominate the whole Europe?
I believe his bigger agenda is to dominate all of Europe, as we can see being played out. You know, I tell people all the time that, you know, people thought Hitler was only invading Poland, and it ended up being him going for the rest of Europe. This is exactly what we're seeing played out. It's a similar invasion. It seems as though Hitler is trying to just simply invade Ukraine, but the rest of the world has to also be on standby, because this is an unfortunate thing that's happening.
So the interesting thing, though, is that like 30 years ago, there was a treaty that was signed by
That's
Ukraine,
right.
by Russia, by us, right?
That's right. That's
by
right.
America. See, the essence of the treaty is that if later in the event that Ukraine gets invaded, U.S. government
Give it protection.
Would step in and protect Ukraine.
That's right.
But that is not what's happening right now. That's
not
seem like
what's happening right now.
it's ever going to happen. So basically, the treaty, looking back, seems to me it's more of a trick than a treaty. So basically, Ukraine got played by both Russia and the U.S. like a grand piano.
That's right. That's exactly
Right?
what happened. Yeah, you know, it was a non-proliferation treaty where they're trying to disarm countries, you know, and trying to stop them from having nuclear warheads, right? So they signed this treaty, as I was mentioning, with Ukraine, and promising Ukraine protection if they become a non-nuclear weapon state. Ukraine signs this treaty, and now they're stuck in a situation where they're being bombed. They need protection, but the United States is not doing nothing except for sending sanctions, unfortunately. So now you have a situation where, I was just talking to a buddy of mine where the Ukrainian president is asking for air support. He says, look, we can take care of things on the ground. We just need air support just to help us. But no one is doing anything in the international community, and the whole, and America is also silent except for just sanctions.
See, why do you think that U.S. is not doing anything? It seems like it's so unlike us. So U.S. is supposed to be the leader of the free world. Means that, if there's something like that happening, we would step in. We would take care of it, right? So we're supposed to be the police that maintains that order. Yeah. But it doesn't seem like we're doing anything at all, aside from issuing sanctions. Yeah, it seems to me is that issuing sanctions is not necessarily. It seems like more of a permission than a punishment, right?
I agree. I think that's exactly what's happening now, and I think the U.S. in doing what it's doing is also sending a strong message to the rest of the world. And I feel like the U.S. is losing its global presence, so to speak, in what's happening now. I think one of the things that we have to understand here is that, once Ukraine took the initiative to disarm itself, right, and to rid itself of the nuclear warheads, it was the U.S.'s responsibility to give Ukraine what it promised to give Ukraine, which was that protection. So at this moment, yes, go ahead.
Well, the thing though is that, do you think that that's the reason that we're not doing anything is because of the U.S. government, or maybe it's more of the president we have right now? Because my understanding is that when Trump was the president for 4 years, the world was in peace, correct?
That's right. 4 years of peace, because people understood that Trump was not afraid to flex American power. People understood that he was not somebody who was going to back down. And he was not somebody who was going to, sit down while people acted up. And that's exactly what's happening now. Even before he took office, President Biden said Putin will be afraid of him. And that the reason why Putin doesn't want him to become president is because, he knows that he has to deal with him. Well, now is the chance, Mr. President. Show us what you've been saying, that Putin is afraid of you. I mean, Putin recently came out and said that if any country joins or tries to retaliate or help Ukraine, they're going to see something worse than the world has ever seen. Now, if I am a world leader and I'm hearing that, I think that's a challenge that's being thrown to you. And I think one of the things that the current administration has to understand is that Putin doesn't care about sanctions. Sanctions hasn't done nothing. In fact, Russia owns most of the world's energy, or most of the energy that's in Europe. So sanctions is not really doing anything at the moment. And I think it's time where other methods are tried.
So basically, what the our president, has done is this: you kill somebody. You know what? I'm going to give you a traffic ticket, right? I'm going to give you a citation. That's the idea. So
every single time, more citations, more citations,
right?
That's it.
So it has become a joke. So giving someone a citation for committing a murder is a joke. You're not punishing that person. You are telling that person killing someone, committing murder is okay, because the only thing that's going to happen to you is to get a citation.
That's
correct?
Right. That's right. That's exactly, the thing. And even going a step further, NATO, which is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, was formed after World War II for the purpose of protecting Europe and bringing peace to Europe. Now, I understand that Ukraine is an ally of NATO. Okay, it's not technically a member at the moment. Ukraine has been trying to become a member of NATO, but they're an ally of NATO, and they've done everything necessary to prove and to show that, look, we believe in the European Union and we believe in what's happening. Now, I feel like this is the chance for NATO to step up as well and to show that they are indeed an alliance that is, for the protection of Europe in general. Whether you remember or not, NATO was formed to keep peace in Europe, and right now there's no peace.
See, it seems like none of these NATO countries is doing anything.
No, not at all.
Right. My understanding is that everybody's looking up to the U.S. If we do something, they may follow. But if we don't do anything, they're not going to do anything for sure.
That's right.
See, what happened was it's pretty clear. Actually, Ukraine got tricked by us.
That's what it's looking like now.
By NATO, right? So basically, there was a contract saying that, you know what, I agree to remove all my nuclear power, to remove all my nukes. But later,
for your protection.
If I'm in danger, in exchange for protection, if I'm in danger, if I get invaded, you will step in. You will offer protection. But nobody's doing that. U.S. is not doing that. NATO is not doing that. Nobody's doing that. So basically, we left Ukraine hanging.
That's right. We've left Ukraine hanging, and I think this sends a strong message also that what's happening now with the current administration in the United States is they're setting a precedent that next time anybody can do whatever they want to, and the only consequences they're going to face is sanctions. That's it. That's the precedent that's being set right now.
So basically, the idea is that you kill somebody, you rape somebody, you stab somebody,
just get a ticket.
You will get a citation.
That's it. Right? We'll just close your bank account. That's all.
Yeah, you'll probably pay a fine of like $200. That's it. So basically, you are saying just go ahead and kill people and go ahead and rape women, right? So basically, that's the message you are sending.
That's right. And the thing.
And see, what really troubles me is not necessarily the geopolitics. It's more like it's more of a matter of principle. Seems like if you're a big bully, say in high school, you can just bully people. Nothing's going to happen to you, right?
That's right.
So actually, the fact that Russia is invading Ukraine and nobody, including us, including US, is doing anything about it. So basically, it seems like before we always say right now it's the 21st century. Like people are more civilized, but that's not true. So basically, it's still a jungle. It's just that we have more high-rise buildings.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, it's still a jungle. It's still a jungle. And, it's still a jungle. And I think this also sends a message. This sends a message in a sense that the U.S. has broken many promises with countries around the world. And this sends a message that, as a country, you need to protect yourself. You need to protect yourself because, unfortunately, U.S. has broken a principle here, or at least it's looking like it's breaking a principle by just simply sending sanctions, no air support. In fact, the president of Ukraine has clearly said, look, we will take care of things on the ground. We will take care of things on the ground. Don't worry about that. Just send air support. That's all they're asking for because they lack, some of these military planes because they were forced to disarm themselves as a result of this negotiation between Russia and the United States, which they signed for the purpose of U.S. protection.
See, so basically what's going on right now, we are sending a message, as you were saying, Dr.
Yes.
Ponodo, that U.S. cannot be trusted because we broke a promise. It's not just a promise, it's the promise. Because of the fact that we broke that promise, every single day, hundreds or tens, of hundreds of people, or thousands of people
are dying.
Are getting
people
killed.
Are dying. Yes,
are getting killed as we speak. Right?
Yeah, the current administration is sending this message that we can't be trusted because yes, that is right. People are dying. In fact, when the previous administration, Trump, when he was in office, many countries felt like they had an ally. They felt like they had somebody who truly supported them while they were in office and while they were while he was in office. In fact, I quite remember the Prime Minister of Israel saying, "We've never had such a great ally in the United States than when President Trump was in office." Right. In fact, Trump made it clear to the president of Ukraine, when the whole Ukrainian thing happened, the purpose of the call and the conversation of Trump and the president of Ukraine was to ensure and let the president of Ukraine know that, listen, don't worry about Russia. We have your back. We have a promise. We promised you 8 years ago that we were going to help you to maintain peace. And we have your back. We will do that. Now is the time for us to prove to them that that's exactly what we meant. In fact, Trump decided to go as far as even selling them weapons, trying to help them to build their military so as to ensure that, look, we are truly behind you and we're backing you.
See, what's ironic, though, is that, before there was this whole situation, while Trump was in the office, right?
Yeah.
There was this, they were saying that Rudy Giuliani was doing something on behalf of Trump as his private attorney and all that. See, at that time, Putin was saying that you cannot trust U.S. You know why? Because they make a promise they don't always keep, right? But if I make a threat, I will carry it out. I will do it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't make hollow threats. My threats are real threats.
Well, let me put it this way, okay? Putin himself is not that he's the type of person that is more of a strategist. Okay, he's not really about what he says to the extent that he's making it seem. Why do I say that? Putin was able to attack, let's say, Georgia, okay, during the time of Bush. Then he attacked the Crimea during the time of Obama. Then he wanted to continue and initiate. But why didn't he do anything when Trump was in office? Why did he wait until now that Biden is in office that he decided to do something? Because he clearly knew what he was up against when Trump was in office. He knew clearly that if he was to try to retaliate or do something, Trump would let him feel the pain. So right now, the issue at the moment is weakness in leadership. That's really the key issue here. And everybody senses this weakness in leadership. And as a result, they feel like it is their time to do whatever they want to do. And examples are very clear, such as Afghanistan, such as, bombings that have recently taken place with ISIS now coming back and saying and taking, claim for various bombings. But for 4 years, you did not hear about any of them. Very quiet, because they understood who was the real deal. They understood that Trump was not just someone who was just talking, but he was somebody who was going to do it. And in fact, I think I shared a story recently that I heard, Trump was having an interview and he was saying that, he sent a white flag to a particular leader of a country. And when the leader of the country saw the white flag, he said, "What is this?" And Trump told him, "If you don't stop what you're doing, you're going to be waving this flag very soon as a flag of surrender." That's the type of president and strong leadership that was that we had 4 years ago versus the type of leadership that we have now.
Yes. So I think that so what I mean U.S. has lost is not just obviously Ukraine. Well, we're losing Ukraine now. It's more that before U.S. supposed to be this country, this big brother everybody is looking up to, right?
That's right.
But right now it's like I think that everybody is seeing U.S. as a joke.
That's right.
It's like we have a big mouth. We talk all day long, but we don't do it.
We
make promises we don't keep.
Yeah.
We let people down. As a result of that, like as you were saying, like as people are dying as we speak in Ukraine.
Yes, that's right.
You were saying that this woman, she was driving a car, and the car got run over by a Russian tank. Right?
That's right. There was a lady that was, a civilian, normal civilian, just driving a car, and there was a Russian tank, which was approaching. Now, the Russian tank was going on one side of the street, and this lady was going on the other side of the street. Normally, the Russian tank left its side of the street and ran over this woman. Thankfully, she did not die, but the car was in severe damage, and they, civilians had to rush out and try to pull her out. Do you see what I'm saying? So these are some of the things that we're seeing. We're seeing, family members, old people, young people, being killed. In fact, I read a story just now of a couple who were supposed to get married in May, but they just decided to go ahead and do the marriage 2 hours after the bombings took place because they don't know what's going to happen in the future. So now they've enlisted and they're going to fight in the war. And there was another 80-year-old man who just joined to try to, to pick up arms and fight. That's the state of the Ukrainian country at the moment because they did what they were supposed to do in the promise that was made with them. So Ukraine has pretty much done everything that requires them to be a part of NATO. But NATO has not, allowed Ukraine to be a part of NATO. Ukraine has done everything as far as it's concerned concerning the promises of disarming itself, being a part of the European Union and pushing, westernization and all of that. But yet we have failed in our promise to the country.
We did big time. So in a way is that because of the fact that Ukraine was naive.
That's right. Very
naive to think that, we will do what we said we were going to do. Right.
I think it's,
they believe in us. We let them down. We failed them. Correct?
That's right. I think it was a sense of maybe perhaps, I don't know if it was so naive, but I think it was too much of a failed promises and too much of a belief in perhaps us.
Yes. One more thing though, my understanding is that the war, the invasion is not necessarily what Russia wants, what Russian people want. Seems to me.
No, not the people.
No, right? So that's why there's a big anti-war protest or protests
in
Russia, right? Nobody wants to go to war. Nobody wants to go kill strangers. See, the thing with the war, though, basically you go to war. The very idea of war is that you will kill somebody or a lot of people never met before.
Innocent people would lose their life.
And they will try to kill you too.
That's right.
So the very idea of going to war is committing first-degree murder on a much larger scale.
Much larger scale without penalties.
Over every day, right? It's California Penal Code. It's California Penal Code 187 violation.
That's right.
Right? See, that's why I'm a big anti-war person. I think the war, any war
it's not worth it. It's not worth it, right? And I think I'm glad you made the distinction that you see it's not the Russian people who want this. It's a paranoid leader who wants this. Russia, Putin, this is how Putin thinks. He feels as though Russia without Ukraine is simply just a powerful state. But Russia with Ukraine is an empire. And that's what he wants to do. He wants to build his empire, right? But the people understand that, listen, since 1991, when the Soviet Union fell, there has been independence. And that independence must be respected. It must be respected. Ukraine is of no threat to Russia. In fact, Ukraine has not tried to threaten Russia or hurt Russia. Putin is simply paranoid because he feels as though if Ukraine becomes an ally with the European Union, that's going to harm his interests. Okay. And that's where that paranoia is coming from.
See, the thing though, say that, he wants to build his empire, and all that, which is fine. But the thing though is that by going to war, innocent people will die. Innocent people have already died, have already been killed. See,
that's right.
See, as average person, right? Like I said, someone like me, I don't give a shit about empire, not an empire.
Exactly.
I just
you just cared about what your daily food, your daily necessities.
Yes. You know what? I want to make sure I have enough to eat, right? I want to make sure that if it's cold, I have like a warm clothes. I can keep myself warm. That's all I care about.
That's right.
At least I want to be safe. I don't want to be killed. I don't want to be injured. That's what people want. That's what everybody wants. You know?
Yeah, that's exactly, what the rest of the world want. That's why there are these anti-war protests happening right now in Russia. And I commend the Russian people for that very much. There's a lot of things that Putin has done that the Russian people are not happy with and they do not agree with. So right now it's just a leader who is sending his whole country into war because he's paranoid. And along the way, he's killing many, many people. Many people. And I'm not a proponent of war. I don't support war. I don't believe I don't believe in fighting unnecessary wars. But I feel like there are times in life where sometimes unnecessary measures must be taken, especially in this instance, whereby sanctions is not going to do anything. Sanctions is not enough. Russia has been receiving sanctions since Trump's time. If sanctions would have stopped this man from doing whatever he wanted to do, it would have done that already. So at this point, Putin doesn't fear anything except for someone who is also a strong leader, who is able to match fire with fire. And that's what we need right now.
Well, I could not agree with you more. So do you have any final remarks?
My final remarks would be just to encourage people and the international community to continue to push the message and get the word out, and to encourage their leaders to join Ukraine in helping to stop this threat and what Putin is doing, because it seems as though it's in another country, but you'll be surprised that, what's happening in another country can easily come and affect you in your home. My grandma once told me that when you see something happening, it's like a fly on the wall. No matter how small it is, if you go to sleep in a room with a fly on the wall in your room, you'll realize that you cannot sleep. So that's kind of the same principle here, that it seems as though it's happening outside, but understand that this is something that will affect you, and you should encourage your leaders to help the people of Ukraine.
So just as the saying goes, either everybody is well or nobody is well, correct?
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. Thank you for coming onto the show. And, I'm looking forward to having more shows with you. I really appreciate it being very courageous, about what's going on in Ukraine. I'm sure a lot of people would watch this video and they will feel the courage. They will feel that they can relate to what we have been talking about. I think that's what's important. Right? Because as the saying goes, united we stand.
That's right. United we stand.
Yeah.
United
we
stand.
Yeah. Thanks to everybody that has been watching the show. 谢谢。